junk turns into beauty, and old stuff is part of the inventory, where there's time for a smoke and coffee, while a slow pace completes the story. There's no harm in making sawdust, resulting in some craftsman's pride. Success and fail shared for all to see, while entertainment and learning collide. Not just sawdust, not just sawdust, not just sawdust.
Welcome back to the Just Sawdust workshop. And yes, today I want to make the last layer on this workbench. It's going to be this HDF, and it's just, parquet for on the floor, high density something. And I made a little test. I glued it with a normal wood glue, and I really can't get this off, so that works fine. I just had to sand off the really smooth layer, made it a bit rough. Gave me a lot of dust, but this works. So today we're going to find out whether we get this finished. I want to make 45-degree angles, the side with the top. Whether that's going to work, I don't know. At the end I'll just put a board against it, but this would be nice if it looked like it was solid. I know that's, it's just a workbench, it shouldn't matter, but let's just try to see if we can, make it nice. So, let's get on with it. with these boards. I want them to look the same on both sides, the same width, more or less. So I had to cut off an extra 3 centimeters of these boards in 45 degrees. Now I put some nails in so I know at which spot they come, so I can glue them. Now while you are looking at how I'm going to do this, I want to talk about something that's not sawdust related, but then again it is a little bit. I got a remark on on one of the videos, and it was kind of strange. It said, "I thought you were a trumper, but now I know that you are not." And why did he think that? Because I use sometimes Cajun and blues and zydeco and bluegrass, all that kind of music in my videos, and for some reason that's considered trumpy music or something. I don't know. A bit strange, I must say. So what I did is I made a song about it. That's what I more often do. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange thing. I had more discussions, you know, like with a patron of mine, and he was a very good patron, and I thought he was a very good friend. He even paid for that Metabo bandsaw, so not too bad, you know, really a good guy. But I made a remark about Trump and the way he uses religion as an excuse. I mean, the guy isn't religious, you know, with all he does. So, and it was like over, you know, there was my patron gone, and that's why I never say any political on the Not Just Sawdust channel, because in, you know, daily life I do write songs every now and then, a lot of poems. I do columns on all kinds of, you know, things that concern me. It's a nice way to get rid of your stuff. So, but yeah, I thought I'd just have to mention that music, you know, your taste in music doesn't make you anything, you know. That's just what you like. I like blues and bluegrass and country and you know, Americana kind of stuff. So why shouldn't I be using that in my videos? And nowadays, lately, I even get lyrics to these songs. So what I'm going to do is put on that song, and then so you know where I stand right away and where I come from. And in the future, I will share my my other music, just not on this channel, but with a link, and that link is going to be to Spotify or wherever you can find that music. It's not that I made the music myself in total. You know, I got help from a few, I should say, alternative intelligence. And that, you know, that's a nice way to get your lyrics, you know, performed. I did a few myself in the past, but I can't sing and I can't play guitar. I have to do one chord at a time, all that kind of stuff. So I just thought, you know, why not? When modern techniques are making this possible, I'll just put them out there. And it's going to be an album, and it's going to be called Grey and Confused, because that's what I am about this whole world at the moment. You know, it's just a crazy thing. And well, while you see me work, you can hear that song. So, enjoy, hold up.
We know his father was a carpenter. The uneducated made him the son of God. My own father was a man of 11 trades. I had to learn them all, and that was a lot. He forgave the wrong, I hardly give a second chance. He walked on water, I struggle with steep stairs. He's kind of a myth, I'm certainly living life. His kind words are my opinion, nobody cares. Klezmer isn't owned by the ones destroying Gaza. Blues not only for the grieving, hurt is not a must. Zydeco and Cajun not just for the ones speaking, but to I. Folk and Gert rise are great sounds to loudly make sawdust. I don't own the mighty hammer of justice. My father wasn't a god, all I've got is a voice. I chose the path of being compassion. MAGA supporters and racists too have that choice. I got a workshop with fascinating tools. Some need muscles, others electric power as well. Don't have Joseph's saw to cut greed into pieces. If I believed, I would wish all fascists a place in hell. Klezmer isn't owned by the ones destroying Gaza. Blues not only for the grieving, hurt is not a must. Zydeco and Cajun not just for the ones speaking, but to I. Folk and Blu-ray are great sounds to loudly make sawdust. I don't own the mighty hammer of justice. My father wasn't a god, all I've got is a voice. I chose the path of being compassion. My God supporters and racists too have that choice. I got a workshop with fascinating tools. Some need muscles, others electric power as well. Don't have Joseph's saw to cut greed into pieces. If I believe, I would wish all fascists a place in hell. Klezmer isn't owned by the ones destroying Gaza. Blues not only for the grieving, hurt is not a must. Zydeco and Cajun not just for the ones speaking patois. Folk and dogras are great sounds to loudly make sawdust. Klezmer isn't owned by the ones destroying Gaza. Blues not only for the grieving, hurt is not a must. Zydeco and Cajun not just for the ones speaking to all. Folk and dark rise are great sounds to loudly make sawdust.
I'm pretty happy with it. So it took me a while to glue this on, like this took 5 days because I could do one row, nail it down, wait like a whole day to let it dry, and then do the next. So I did this over the week, and that worked out fine. I got the 45-degree angles cut, and that worked too. So the only thing that didn't work is this corner. I had to fill this up with some putty, some wood filler, because of course I cut it 45 degrees and later cut it off, so I had like a little triangle that I had to fill, but that's fine. Put the wax on it and it gave the corners a really nice feel. It's really smooth. It took me an hour to find the router. I've got like 6 of them, from like a palm router up until like a really big Makita heavy thing. But they're in the crates, and all the crates are stacked on top of each other, so I can't get to it. But the first one I found was the Bosch, no, the Black & Decker, I think. Well, I got this from Mark McClooney from Northern Ireland. He sent it to me, and I was lucky that I have this one, because the only bits I could find were like this. Well, it's not 10mm, I think 3/8 or whatever that's in the Imperial system. But that's the only router bits I could find. So luckily there was it fitted in that router, so made it smooth and really looks great. I didn't expect to be the corners that nice and really smooth. So this is done. But not quite, of course. Dog holes, getting the vise in a better way, because the vise needs to be raised a bit, well, the wooden plate in it, but it also needs to be a bit thicker, because you can't put any dog's holes in it, or like a little dowel or something, so when the dog holes are in this line, then it doesn't, well, you can't put them in here. So I've come up with a solution for that, and maybe a porthole here, so I can put a vacuum cleaner underneath here, and then there's a hole this side of the bench, so I can just put the vacuum hose in here and clean. Maybe that's a solution. A few of these dog holes on the side, so when you have a long piece of board you can rest it on there. So yeah, a lot of things to do, and then of course all the cabinets. Already came up with a plan for what's going to be in the front of the cabinet. So yeah, happy that it's done. I've got myself a really sturdy workbench. So for now, do some woodworking. It's a nice way to spend your time. And for those who maybe frowned a bit after hearing the song I put in here, I respect everybody. So I'm living in a country where there's a lot of people, especially older people, are going to church on Sunday, and they are well, in a world where at the same time all the shops are open on Sunday. So go to church in the morning, go to Lidl's or Aldi's in the afternoon, you know, no problem. But I respect their, you know, their religion, so on Sundays I'll keep it down with machines and tools and things like that. It's a day of rest, and that's fine with me. And that's what I mean with respecting other people. I mean, yeah, it's great when you have comfort in a religion or in whatever you believe. And if you are happy with that, if you get something out of that, it's great. But on the other hand, you have to respect other people that are just not religious, and respect other people even though, you know, and well, nothing to do about woodworking, but that's, you know, you don't think, oh, he hates people who are religious or something. And on the contrary, I think it's great to have something to hold on to, and sometimes you could be jealous of people who have something like that. So, do some woodworking, I already said, so do some recycling. That's an even better way to spend your time. And see you for the next adventure in the next video. At the logo.